Welcome to another part of my Management Accounts Automation Masterclass. If you've landed here without context, I recommend starting with the introduction video. It's linked below. Everything you need to follow along is in the description. Let's get into it. Okay, so it's now time to bring that data report to our management accounts. So we're going to open it, just have a look at it. It already looks quite good in terms of being structured in a tabular form. It just needs a little bit of work done to it. And all we need from it is the copy the path, and we can close it, and we don't actually ever need to open it again. So we're now back into management accounts. This is template. Okay, I don't want to mess up the template. Let's save it as V2. And I'm going to call it add data. So I'll have multiple versions with different steps. It will be easier to follow. Okay, so the data is sitting in the data sources folder, which is on SharePoint. That's why we're going to bring the data from web, paste the path, and get rid of the ending, and just leave the Excel extension here. Okay, so this is the sheet, and the report is sitting there, so we can transform the data now. Right, so I'm going to call it data. You can call it whatever you want, but I would use a short name because this is going to be the name of the table that we will be working on and using in formula, so we don't want it to be too long. And so it's got some already automatically applied steps, which I'm happy with. This one, this is just source, so it's calling the report, the Excel file, to come to Power Query, and then it's bringing it in, and then it created these two, which I don't want them at this point. I'm just going to delete them because they can cause some trouble. So source and navigation, and now we start cleaning our data the way we want it. So first, looking at this column, it doesn't look like it's got anything of value. It's got some component names, some description, debtors, totals, nothing that we will actually use. So I'm going to remove the column. Now the first 1, 2, 3, 4 rows is just empty rows. There's no data in it. No data. So I'm going to get rid of these. Remove top rows. 4 top rows. What else can we do? Now I see that I want to promote these, use the first row as columns. So I'm going to promote first row as headers. And if you notice, this is the step that I wanted, and it came with an additional step. I'm not sure I need to review, because the way it applied, it should be pretty accurate, but I want to review it one by one when I'm happy with it. So transaction ID is a number, fine. Transaction date is a date. This is a text. Document number, I want it to be text. Change type to text, because sometimes it's and replace current step. So sometimes it's a combination of numbers and letters. I prefer it to be text. Name, okay, here we have the two names, but I'll come back to it, which is the duplicate. Text, number. No, I actually wanted the debit and credit here. Number, cleared customer. Okay, customer should be text. Supplier. Text. Okay, and all the rest I actually don't need. All these columns. If you need any of these, leave them in. But I don't need any, so I'm going to delete them, because anything that you don't need, you don't want to keep in the table, because you will just create, you just use up too much memory unnecessarily. So you don't want the table to be too big. Just keep whatever information you need. Okay, so remove those columns. And now what I want, I'm going to investigate this null. What is in the... Okay, nothing. Some totals, nothing. Okay, so I'm going to select all except null. I don't want null as a transaction ID because it doesn't bring anything. This is looking good. Now I want that I've got the debit and credit, and I mentioned before, instead of amount, I wanted a, well, I do want an amount, but proper amount. So I want a net value column here, which will be just debit minus credit. So I'm going to add custom column. Before I do that, I need to replace values. The null is not going to be calculation friendly, so it will return error. I want to select all of those number columns and change type to, sorry, not change type, replace values. And instead of null, I want 0. Okay. Now I can create custom column, call it net value. And this will be debit minus credit. Okay. Bring it here. And I will be working mainly with this column. And I don't want it to be text or number. It should be only a number, and I don't know why it is not. Okay, let's see. If there is an error, it will pop up. So I'm changing it to decimal number, just like these two. So this is now looking good. I think I can actually bring it to, now load it to the management accounts and have a look at it. So load as a table and to new worksheet. Just going to give it a color. Right, so this is now perfectly looking Sage-like table of all nominal transactions, which we can use to populate any figures that we need for our management accounts, and not only the P&L and balance sheet reports. We can populate these kinds of reports as well, like extracts from specific accounts. Pretty much as the level of detail that went into your management, your accounting software is your limit here. So if you have very general journals, then there is only so much you can do with them, like global big journals. But if you have a lot of detail posted, then you can create, you can extract that detail back and do multiple, like many sorts of analysis with it. Right, so we have, so this would be good at this point. However, what I'm not, I mean, obviously we can work without it, around it, but what I would like to know is which account is P&L and which one is balance sheet. Obviously, I know by looking at them, but like in Sage and other softwares, you have account names, nominal code numbers, which are structured like universal for the software, across the software. And for example, like any code 0 to, I don't know, 4,000 or something, it's definitely a balance sheet. Anything above it, or to 5,000, I think, is anything above it is income and so on. In QuickBooks, we don't have this information, so you cannot, if I wanted to extract just P&L account names out of it, there is no way I can do it. I need a little bit of help, and that help will come from this mystery file that's also sitting in data sources here. It's called account types, and this is a small table that I actually typed in manually once, and I only did it once, and I use it for every single set of management accounts that I need to automate based on QuickBooks. So basically, these are all the possible account types used by QuickBooks, and I manually typed in whether they are balance sheet or P&L. It's very unlikely that there will be a new category. If there is, then we will just add a new one to the table and have it refreshed. So not a big deal, but this should be pretty much set in stone, like forever information. So again, all we need from this is to copy the data, and we will never ever look at this report, like open it ever again. This file is just sitting there, but it does need to sit there for connection. So let's bring it in. Again, this is the same destination. So from bring data from web, copy the path, get rid of everything after the extension of the Excel file. And now we have a choice between tab, which is everything on that tab, and the table, just the table. And because we already have the table, we will choose that, so that we don't need to do any further transformation to it. So this is now in our Power Query. Let's go back to data. So now I have account type column here, and I also have account type column here, and I have this additional information which I want to bring to this table. So we'll go to the data table and we will merge the two queries. So I will merge this big data query with the small table, and we will match the columns, the common columns, which are the account type. Left outer is fine because we want all the information from this table, and match values from the second table only. So okay. Now it brought back a table, which is not good, and we need to expand it. We don't want that. We don't want account type because we already have it. We just want this information. So now we know which account is balance sheet. We'll bring it closer to the account type. We now know, and obviously we know by looking at it, but we will need this information for some dynamic calculations. So this was expenses, P&L, expenses, balance sheet, looking good. But I'm actually going to bring it to the very beginning because I want this to be at front. So move to beginning, even before the transaction ID. And I've just noticed the two name columns, the duplicate, that it's a glitch. So I'm going to delete it at this point, but the moment, so when I delete it, remove column, it's hard-coded as name _1 being deleted. When QuickBooks actually fixes that problem in the software, this will cause an issue because this name, the double name will no longer be there, and the query will not recognize it. But this is the kind of report that I'm working with on a daily basis pretty much, so I will be aware of it. I will pick up on this, and I will advise how to deal with this as and when it happens. So don't worry about it too much. And it will be pretty obvious. The error will say something, column name 1 not recognized, or something like that. So it's not a big deal. Right, so we've got the profit and loss balance sheet recognition. Let's just see if there is anything. Okay, there's something going on here. It should be either or. There shouldn't be any other values, and there is a null value. And that's because we have some transactions with no account type, but these are just zeros, and they look like QuickBooks generated like pay bill zero value checks. So depending on your organization, you may have to track it somehow for some reasons, and there are ways of dealing with it, but in this case this is inconsequential to any of the automation calculations, so I'm going to just get rid of it. So I'm deselecting this and just want to balance sheet and P&L. So, and I also want to sort it so that balance sheet is at front first, and then why is it not doing? Okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to load it again and see what happens. But before, okay, let's just close. Keep. Okay, I accidentally brought in the account types query, which I don't need to be sitting in my management account. So I'm going to delete this tab, delete. But I'm not deleting the query. The query still sits inside Power Query, and it's connection only. So if we double click on it, we can still use it. Yes, it's there, but we don't need to look at it in management accounts. And this, can I sort it by ascending? Because that's what I want. I want balance sheet accounts first, and then profit and loss. And I also want to sort it by, so once I've got this sorted, I also want to sort by date. So, and I think that will do, at least for now. I'm happy with that. So the final step that I'm going to do is to go through the name column names and just name them the way I like it. So this is fine. This one I want just transaction ID. Rename transaction date, because I will be working with those column names in formulas, so I don't want them to be too long. Oh, some of them will be long, but I want them to be in a certain way. Number is fine. Name, this can be just you can call them however you used to and like. Description, full name. Okay, full name and distribution account. This is confusing. I don't know who came up with this. I'm going to say full account name, and then account name. Account name, account type, in description, full name, full account name, account type, debit, credit, fine, net value. This will be just open balance. This clear. Okay, so that's it. We close this now, and I think this is now good to go. So we've got this table actually sitting now in management accounts, but this is not the original transaction list with splits report from QuickBooks. Is the one that we've tidied up, that we're bringing in. We're not interested in the original. And anytime, and the other one, the helping table, is connection only, so it's sitting inside Power Query. We don't need it here. So now every time the underlying report, the transaction list with splits, changes in QuickBooks, which is anytime you do something to it, you post any new data, all we now need to do is to either export that report to Excel and save it in that data source, and just come back here and refresh it. We don't need to open that report in Excel at all. We just refresh it here. Or better still, we just have it scheduled and emailed to us by QuickBooks, and we don't even need to click on export to Excel and save it in the file at all. But that only can happen as often, no more often than every 15 minutes, so it may not be ideal. But if you do some work in the evening and then have it scheduled to be emailed to you in the morning, then in the morning all your management accounts are done for you. Okay, so that's it for this part. Thanks for watching. You're one step closer to a fully automated month end. And remember, you don't need to go through the entire masterclass before you start seeing results. Each layer we build adds practical automation that you can apply immediately to your own work. By the end of the series, you'll have everything you need to implement the full system to your own data. And if you'd prefer support or want the system implemented for your company, you can contact me through my website. I'll see you in the next lesson.